The Prophet, peace be upon him, was once approached by a Bedouin and he was asked, should I tie my camel and then rely upon Allah, or should I leave it untied and rely upon Allah? The Prophet, peace be upon him, responded, tie your camel first, then rely upon Allah. This is an idea that many of us may be faced with on a daily basis, something that we can title as the Tawakkul Asbab paradox. You see, tawakkul is the idea that we rely entirely and exclusively upon Allah. We don't need anybody or anything else. And asbab are the apparent means that we use to achieve anything on this earth. But there seems to be a contradiction, a paradox. If we rely on Allah and embody tawakkul, how then can we simultaneously use the asbab or the apparent means? Isn't that in contradiction to the idea of relying entirely upon Allah? So how do we navigate the tawakkul asbab paradox? At the very core of the Bedouin's question lies the essence of what Islam teaches us about relying upon the Creator, whilst at the very same time availing oneself of the created means. In Islam, the idea of tawakkul and reliance upon Allah never meant the abandonment of the asbab or the apparent means. This entire universe was created by Allah to operate according to certain systems in which the cause and effect is a key factor. Despite the existence of these systems, however, Allah remains in complete and uncompromised control of this entire universe. Now, on a day-to-day basis, the relationship between cause and effect will be maintained. Fire, for example, is hot and it burns. Gravity causes things to fall. These are the norms. However, Allah can override these norms and create exceptions, especially for a greater and more momentous objective. Take the example of miracles. Yes, fire burns, we know this. But when Prophet Ibrahim was thrown into the fire, the cause and effect was temporarily suspended. We would define this as an anomaly. It's not normal, it's extraordinary, it's a miracle. A beautiful example that demonstrates the fine balance between the norms of cause and effect and the suspension of such norms causing a miracle can be observed in the life of the Lady Maryam. On the one hand, she was involved in one of history's greatest suspensions of cause and effect, where Allah caused her to give birth without the conventional forms of consummation. And on the other hand, she is instructed by Allah to shake the branches of the tree if she wants dates to fall. If He wished, the branches would have inclined towards her. But no, she too had to use the apparent means where Allah had decided. The unambiguous message of this prophetic narration is that true reliance upon Allah requires that we continue to avail ourselves of the apparent means that Allah has created, whilst at the same time never losing sight in our hearts and our minds that it is from Allah that the fulfillment of needs truly comes. This principle that we believe in Allah as being the true cause while simultaneously making use of the apparent means governs all aspects of our lives, from the management of a Bedouin's camel to the dealing of diseases and pandemics. You see, if the harm is imaginary, then preventative measures are not prescribed by Islam. However, if the harm from a pandemic is a matter of certainty or maybe even a preponderant possibility, then of course the believer is obliged to adopt preventative measures. We will explore in some detail some of the preventative measures that Islam advocates, but for now, the intelligent individual are those who take heed from the experiences of those around them, and they do not fall victim to the mistakes that have been made by others. May Allah grant us understanding. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.